In a world that runs its mouth, God is looking for someone who knows when to hold their tongue.
Wow.
The views expressed on the following broadcasts do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT, Take 12 Radio, or our affiliates. The opinions on this show should not be considered as medical, psychological, or professional advice and are those of the host, co-host, and guest. Take 12 Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting are not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship.
Here we go!
When the static of life fills your brain and the world seems a little too insane, just twist that dial, don't hesitate.
Nope.
There's a haven where good vibes await. Tune in and Take 12 for some joy and cheer. It's the sound of hope coming in crystal clear. Recovery talk, the music so grand, a beacon of light, a helping hand.
Well, welcome one and all to another fine episode of the world's oldest and original recovery talk, recovery music, radio station, and podcast, the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show with our wonderful co-host from trudgingtogether.org and Raw Recovery, Dion Miller. From Huntington Beach, California, and Came to Believe Recovery, Roger McDermott. And of course, myself, recovered alcoholic and all-around good guy, the Monty Man. Hey, this week, the topic is when to keep your mouth shut. Oh, boy. Yes, and of course, we have the Make Believe Take 12 Recovery Radio Orchestra and a little true or false story for you. See if we can stump our co-hosts. All right now on the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show. Kaboom, kaboom, kaboodity boom badoom. Boink. See what?
I'm laughing because I'm doing the same thing in my head. So I'm like a little stemming, while live.
Well, I got to turn Roger's cancellation on. Hold on a minute. Wait, I can't. We're already recording. All right. So you're not getting an echo, are you, Roger?
No.
Oh, okay. So you're good. We don't need to turn it on. All right. Well, welcome aboard, everyone. And Dion's got his Punisher T-shirt on.
Yep.
Roger's got his, I don't know what that is.
PragerU.
Oh, PragerU. I love PragerU. Yes.
PragerU too.
And I've got my sarcasm, my gift to you all season long.
And what a gift all year. It's been a blessing.
I got this at Lowe's for $12. How can you pass up something like that, right? Marcia saw it. She went, "Yep, that's you. Buy it." I said, "Are you buying this?" She goes, "No, you are." Okay.
Do I have $12, honey? Yes.
Well, when you take your wife into a hardware store, and that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
You're buying it. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't need another hammer. Yeah, but this one's so cool. All righty. So the topic this week, when to keep your mouth shut. The gentleman that did the little short blurb there at the beginning, you guys know who that was?
I couldn't figure it out.
I do not.
That is the late, great Reverend Billy Graham.
You know what? I thought it was Billy Graham.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're going to be hearing more from him
I
on this.
love Billy Graham.
Yeah, me too. We're going to be hearing more from him on this broadcast. But first, let's do this.
Hey there, friends, gather round. It's Money the Man with stories profound. We're diving into tales both wild and bold. Time to play true or false. Let the fun unfold.
That's right. It's time to play everybody's favorite podcasting game show, True or False, where you get to try to stump our co-host. So this actually came in from Carla C. from Arizona.
All right. Thanks, Carla.
If she stumps you guys, Carla, we're going to send you a copy of the book Basic Prayer and Simple Meditation by Mike D., recovered alcoholic Mike D. This is a recovering alcoholic talks about beginning spirituality. Yes, indeed. We're going to be sending you that
Very
if
nice.
you stump our guests. Okay, here is your story. And Dion and Roger, you get to decide whether this is fact or fabricated. In 2016, Wanda Dench of Mesa, Arizona, sent out a text that read, "Thanksgiving dinner is at my house at 3 o'clock on November 24th. Dench's text was meant for her grandson, who had unfortunately changed his phone number, so instead it was received by 17-year-old Jamal Hinton while sitting in class at Desert Vista High School." All right, if this is real, Jamal, what are you doing looking at your phone while sitting in class?
2016.
Naturally confused after receiving a message from an unknown number, Hinton asked who the texter was. The mystery messenger then replied, "Your grandma." At that point, Hinton thought that perhaps his grandmother had gotten a new phone number, so he texted back and asked for a photo. However, after Hinton, who is black, received a picture of Dench, a white woman, who was definitely not his grandma, he too sent a selfie and jokingly texted back, "You're not my grandma. Can I still get a plate, though?" To Hinton's delight, Dent responded, "Of course you can. That's what grandmas do. Feed everyone." Hinton took a screenshot of the text exchange and shared it on social media, where it quickly went viral. Hinton also took Dench up on her offer and drove from Tempe, Arizona to Mesa to celebrate Thanksgiving with Dench and her family. However, this accidental meeting turned into two strangers who forged a friendship that has stood the test of time. Dench and Hinton have since spent every Thanksgiving together, and their friendship has become as much a staple as the holiday as cranberry sauce and football. The two have also spent time together aside from the holiday gathering, sharing both good and bad in each other's lives. For example, Hinton stepped up as a form of support after Dench's husband, Lonnie, died in April of 2020. While Dench also welcomed Hinton's girlfriend, Michaela, into the family fold, Hinton even went with Dench to get her very first tattoo. Is that story fact or fabricated? Roger, what do you think?
That's an awfully amazing story if it's fabricated. I'm going fact.
You're going to go with fact? What do you say there, Dion?
I think I remember reading this, but even if it is false, I want it to be fact because it's just a really neat story.
Yep.
On how two people meet. So I'm gonna go with Roger. I'm gonna go with fact.
You guys are correct. It is fact.
Glad to hear that.
It is absolutely fact.
Great job, young man.
Yeah.
Great job.
So, Carla, you did not stump our guest, but we're going to send you the book anyway.
Yay.
Thank you, Carla.
Just-
You're awesome, Carla. We love you.
Yeah,
That's
that was a
that's
great
just who we
story,
are.
Carla. Thanks
It
for
was.
sharing
You
it.
made my day.
So, there you go. Yeah. So if you think you can stump our guest, you may get the prize. You may not. It depends on the mood I'm in. We'll get a prize from you, and we'll change the prizes up. Next week it may not be the same one. Well, I don't know. We'll give you something though if you can stump our guest. Send your email to Take12Radio. That's TAKE, the number 12 radio at Comcast.net. Let's close out true or false.
False, let's take a chance. Dive into the stories, let your instincts dance. Fiction or fact, just guess what you see. Step right up now, come play with me.
There's a lot of explosives around here.
Notice that.
Yeah, did you? Yeah. Hey, listen, you ever feel stuck in your recovery? You ever feel like things are getting a little stagnant? You know, it is possible to go to too many meetings, you know. There are people that become meeting dependent, and if they can't get to a meeting, they're in trouble. Well, if that's you, or you're feeling a little rough around the edges, may I recommend 12 Essential Insights for Emotional Sobriety, because emotional sobriety is the next frontier, according to Bill Wilson. This is by Take 12 Recovery Radio contributor and our good friend Dr. Alan Berger. You can pick up this book at abphd.com. Yes, indeed, it is, for your autographed copy. And we thank Dr. Berger for helping to support Take 12 Recovery Radio. And it makes, hey, here's the thing. Get two. One for you and one for a friend, because it is the holidays, and believe me, it is well worth it. Very, very good book. Hey, and then coming up on December 8th, we are welcoming back author Jonathan Harrison, the author of Alcoholics and Their Enablers. We talked with him a few weeks back, discovering the science behind lasting sobriety, and we touched on some of the problems of the substance alcohol that a lot of people maybe not even be aware of. But we didn't get an opportunity to really focus on the enabler part. So on December 8th, he's coming back, and we're going to be talking about the enablers. That could be you. You could be one of them. So there you go. Looking forward to that. This Wednesday, coming up on the Came to Believe Recovery podcast, we're going to be, let me see, what are we talking about this Wednesday? We're making the orange clipboard for the Came to Believe Recovery podcast. Passing it on, living generously in recovery. Passing what on? Well, you'll have to tune in to find out.
Tune in, find that one out.
Yep. Okay. I got all that stuff put aside and done. All right. The topic this week, when to keep your mouth shut. May I just say, I don't do this well.
Nor do I.
I thought it was pretty ironic. I'm like, well, you got three opinionated people. This ought to be interesting. So
Right. You know, and when you know as much as the three of us know, and I don't say that boastfully, maybe a little bit, or when you think you know a lot, right? You also have most people that think they know everything. That wouldn't be us. We just know a lot. He said jokingly. It also comes with the pollutant of wanting everybody else to know what you know and agree with that. And you know what? Here's the truth of the matter is you may be right.
yeah,
You may be right. But I heard it. I don't remember who I heard this from, but I loved it, and I've used it, and I do not apply it as much as I should, probably better than I used to. But particularly around the holidays, and this was the quote, when you're sitting around the Thanksgiving table with the in-laws, learn to keep your mouth shut, particularly when you know you're right. And I have never forgotten that. Some sage advice there. But that's not to say that there are times when we need to speak up. Absolutely. You know, if somebody's standing in front of a train, you don't have time to discuss it with them. You're going to speak up or grab them or push them out of the way, or, you know, we'll talk about the broken leg later, but at least you saved their life. So there is times when it absolutely is essential for us to say something. And I think the confusion comes because we get them mixed up. When should we say something and when should we keep our mouth shut? But yeah, there are times. Now Dion is, I'm going to pick on you for a minute. Dion is a bit of a whistleblower. And he is, I don't know if the word stumbled across is the right terminology, but for lack of a better term, he stumbled across some things that are very important to pull the covers back on and
Sure.
let people know when it comes to treatment and counseling and mentoring and peer support and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And he needs to be doing that. We need people that will call a spade a spade. But there's also a time when, even though we're right, maybe we shouldn't speak up so soon. Right,
Yeah.
guys?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What do you
It's about
think
knowing
about
you
that?
got to know your audience. Nobody likes to be told what to do. And the other important thing is you really shouldn't talk on something that you're not doing yourself. Right? I also keep a note in front of my computer. It says it's none of your frickin' business. And that reminds me that it's okay to advocate. But if my anger starts to come into it, then maybe I need to pull back a little bit and take a look at why I'm doing it. Really, I think it comes down to intention. Am I going to cause more confusion than harmony? How am I going to go about this? Did I ask anybody for direction? Did I get anybody else's advice on this? If I have the time. That's the procedure I tend to go through. But if it's done with angst and anger, I'm probably off on the wrong foot. But sometimes, and this happened a couple weeks ago, sometimes this guy and I, we went at it for like 5 minutes. We were going at each other. And finally I said, we can either go out and meet in the parking lot and go to blows, or you and I could find a place that we both agree on.
Right.
So we can help more people. Now we're having coffee on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's
sometimes we
so
need it.
cool. So let me ask you. You said when it gets you going and get in whatever you're doing, you're speaking up about it. You start getting angry and it kind of turns in the wrong direction. What does that look like for you? What does your behavior look like? Do you get all that
When I'm
heat
going
that
the
raises-
wrong way?
Yeah, does that heat rise into your chest? Do you start spewing words that maybe you shouldn't? What's that look like?
I'm the type of guy that utilizes words. So if I'm angry about something, I'll put it in Word, let it sit there for 24 hours. But I put that little sign up because every now and again I'll see people AA bashing or going against how I feel. That's the stuff that I need to stay away from. Because they just want to argue. They just want to argue. And I don't have time for that. And it's real easy for Dion to get caught up on, what's the saying? You can either be right or you can be happy.
Sure. So you said something too that alludes to you're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem, right?
Yeah.
So if you're not part of the solution, you're kind of automatically part of the problem.
Well, that's the only other choice, isn't there?
Yeah. Roger, how about you? I mean, and I say this with all seriousness. You know a lot of people. You've rubbed shoulders with a lot of people, some of them celebrities, some of them authors and well-known folks and speakers and that kind of thing. When we know a lot of folks, we learn a lot of stuff. And when we learn a lot of stuff, there's a lot of stuff to share in our library of our brain, right? Do you find it tempting to speak forth when maybe you shouldn't sometimes?
I am always tempted to speak when I shouldn't. Before I got into the program, before I started doing the 12 steps and living them, I had many people, suggest to me, never miss an opportunity to close your mouth, Roger. And my wife gave me something that, this is after I abandoned my family, but before I left her and my family, she gave me something that I hung over the toilet in my condo when I was apart from my family. And it said the following: "A closed mouth gathers no foot." And I read that and saw that every day of my life. But while in my addiction, do you think I learned something from that? No. It took time. It took a lot of time, and it took the fact that I had no idea what humility was. I was a know-it-all, and I wanted to argue with whatever you had to say, because don't you know, I know more than you do. And I had so many encounters with people who loved me with the truth, and I I heard a pastor tell me once, and this changed my world. This is just one of many things. But he came in and started his Sunday sermon by saying, love without truth is hypocrisy, and truth without love is brutality. And I have stolen that line, and I don't know who wrote it originally, but whatever it is, I try to practice that in all my affairs. And then, for me, if I've got something to say, I like Philippians 4, 8, and 9. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice, and the God of peace will be with you. When I practice that, usually what comes out of my mouth is appropriate, and maybe, if it's from God, maybe it has something that's useful and productive.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's Roger being Roger, and I buried that guy, and I don't want him coming out of my mouth anymore. And I've had a lot of other friends tell me all kinds of little secrets, like count to 10 before you respond, because I was a guy that would just talk over you. I'd just talk over you because I knew more, don't you know?
So that famous quote in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous: "We pause when agitated."
Mm-hmm.
That is so. There's so much power just in that one sentence.
Yeah,
Right.
I've adopted something called the power of P, and it's all based on that. And I always mention it when I'm at the workshops or at the retreats, and it's pause. Second P is pray. Third P is process, which means listen for God to answer what you're praying about.
Yep.
Right? And after
I
you
like
process,
that extra one, because usually it's just those first two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pause, pray, process, and then plan, and then proceed.
Yeah.
And what you get is peace.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's excellent.
That's 6 P's.
It is.
I
It's
love how that.
power of P.
Yeah, we need, but I agree, because we have these things, but we always need to go. We alcoholics, I think, we need to go a little bit further so we can understand the whole scope of it. So I really appreciate you adding that on, and I'm stealing that one. I'm stealing.
Well,
that.
I'm sure it's not original. It started with pause and pray from the Big Book,
sure.
and it's all over the scriptures. I'm a word guy. And I like acronyms, and I like. I actually was going to write a sermon about the power of P. And anyway, that's kind of what that was all about.
Sarcasm. Okay. So I've got a couple of sound bites that I want us to listen to. Here's the first one, again by our friend the Reverend Billy Graham. I don't think since Solomon there's been a man with more wisdom than this guy. I really don't. He just absolutely amazes me, as does his son and their whole ministry. So here is Billy Graham once again on the topic of maybe keeping it silent or quiet. Check this out.
There is a time when heaven is watching, the angels are listening, and God himself leans in close, not to hear what you say, but to see if you will say nothing. In a world that runs its mouth, God is looking for someone who knows when to hold their tongue. Some of you are losing blessings, losing peace, and delaying your destiny, not because of what someone did to you, but because you couldn't keep quiet. There are battles you were never meant to fight with your words. There are storms you were never meant to speak into. There are moments when the greatest proof of your faith is not in what you declare, but in what you refuse to say. Violet, you don't always have to speak your mind to prove you have one. God did not give you a voice to feed your ego. He gave it to glorify him. And sometimes the greatest form of worship is silence. There is a reason Jesus stood silent before Pilate. There is a reason he didn't argue with the Pharisees. There is a reason he answered not a word when accused. He could have called down a legion of angels. He could have spoken one word and ended it all. But he chose silence, not out of weakness, but out of divine wisdom. Some of you are defending yourself too quickly, too loudly, and too often, when God is asking you to step back, shut your mouth, and let Him speak for you. We live in a noisy world. Everyone has something to say. Social media has made everyone a preacher, a prophet, a judge, and a critic. But God is calling a remnant of people who will not respond, who will not explain, who will not fight back, because their trust is in Him alone. Your silence can be more powerful than your sermon.
Ooh. Man, does that pack a punch.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Everything he says and does packs a punch.
Learn to shut up.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a saying that goes something like, I'd rather see a sermon than hear one any day.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I love hearing a good sermon. Don't get me wrong. And
Sure.
they need to be said and they need to be shared. You betcha. But, man, when you see somebody live out what they say, I want to sit at the feet of that guy.
Yeah.
I want what they have. And here's the truth. There are people, and I say this with as much humility as I can muster because it's a very humbling thing. There are people that tune into this broadcast and the other Take 12 Recovery radio shows on a regular basis that will never know who they are.
Correct.
And we are given a heavy load of responsibility because what we say carries weight with them.
Yeah.
So what we don't say carries weight with them as well. Silence is not weakness.
Mm-mm.
And there are times to blow the whistle.
Yep.
And there are times when we think we should, and God's going, whoa, 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 just don't stop.
Right.
Just stop.
That's right.
Stop. I was in a 12-step meeting recently where the person who's been around for years said in the meeting, they said, you don't need to do these steps. All you need to do is make sure you go to 90 meetings in 90 days.
Oh, my gosh.
I wanted to speak up so badly, right? But I felt that hand on my shoulder, that
Yeah.
it was like a spiritual hand on my shoulder. It just said, no, don't do it.
Yeah.
This is not the time to do this publicly. The time
There you
was to talk to the person later.
Yep.
But man, did I want to say something, But, here's the thing. We don't know. Sometimes God's working in something that seems totally contrary to what we would do or say. And we're like amazed that something good comes out of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I look at that and I go, how could something good because what that guy said was dangerous in my viewpoint.
I would agree. There's that intuition of yours kicked in. Does something need to be said? Yes. Does it need to be said right now in haste? No.
Yeah, no. Man, I was ready to pull the sword out and chop the guy's ear off. You know what I mean?
I would have been too. Absolutely.
Me too.
Yeah, absolutely. But what do they say? Reprimand in private and
Reward in public.
or encourage in public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and so I mean, and what's a trip is the whole way Take 12 Recovery Radio even started was because a guy in a 12-step meeting asked me to read a paragraph out of their literature. That's all I did. I just read the paragraph. I just quoted the literature. I didn't put my 2 cents worth or anything else. And this other guy stood up and told me to mind my own business and start a talk show.
So you did, on a resentment.
So I did, on this guy's resentment.
Oh, that's funny.
And no one knows where that guy is anymore.
Well,
But We're in our
Well,
22nd
thank you,
year.
whoever you are, because now I get to be on it. I have to meet Monty and Roger. Otherwise, if that man wouldn't have had a resentment, I wouldn't have two more friends, man.
Precisely.
It just blows my mind. Okay, here's another piece by the Reverend Billy Graham.
There are miracles on the other side of your silence. There are open doors that require a closed mouth. There are breakthroughs that only come when you hold your peace. God told Moses, "The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace." You hear that? That's not a suggestion. That's a command. You want God to fight for you, but you won't stop talking.
Love that. You want God to fight for you, but you won't stop talking.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was a professional of that, for sure. You know, a friend of mine has Hawaiian traditions. There's a Hawaiian term called kina ole, and what it means is do the right thing at the right time, in the right place, to the right person, for the right reason, the first time. And I stole that from him, just like whenever we hear anything that's wise and full of wisdom. It's like the Proverbs. And I had to learn that it's not about talking, it's about doing. I had to learn that it's not about being right in the eyes of others, but it's about doing the right thing. And Paul taught us that. And when I do it, I am perfectly serene. When I don't do it, and I open my mouth and insert my foot, like I frequently do, I'm not serene. I realized that my mouth was a problem, and that it was my ego and my pride that were coming out. And it has nothing to do with being godly or principled. You know, that's untreated alcoholism coming out of my mouth. And it's not okay. It's not okay. And I have to be able to call myself out and say that when it's not okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I had an example a couple weeks ago. I was accused of stealing money from my AA group.
What? Really?
Yeah. And now I had a couple of options, you know, and I'm going to tell you right now, one of my triggers is somebody accusing me of something I didn't do. It sets off my PTSD really,
You want to
really
defend
quick.
yourself, right?
Yeah, so, yeah. And so the first thing I wanted to do was defend myself. So I reached out to a person I knew I could 10-step it with that would just take my words for what they were.
Good job.
You know, that they under. So that was the first place that I went. And then I had to keep my mouth shut, even though and I had every right to defend myself. But instead what I did, and, you know, there was an argument at one point, but I heard what they were saying, even in the anger. So when the group conscious came, I said, okay, we all know kind of what happened. I didn't go into it. I said, even though it was done out of angst, I hear what you're saying. So this is what we're going to do. And I took their suggestions anyway, because they weren't incorrect. They were not wrong. How they went about it, I felt was wrong. And they left the group themselves. I didn't have to do or say anything.
Oh, wow.
They're welcome back.
Yeah.
I don't kick people out of AA. I don't have the power. But I was able to at least take that and pull something out of it to make the group better and let people know and create a little bit more transparency. Now, if I would have gone to the road to defend myself, that would have divided the group. People would start taking sides, and that's exactly what we do not need. Right. This was not a side situation. It was just a human being thing that happened. You know, so, you know, I can't, you know, as an alcoholic, I tend to take problems when I decide it's a problem, and I make it bigger than it needs to be, because that's what I'm used to. So I need these other people in my life. And what do they say? 80% of the program's just keeping your darn mouth shut.
Yeah.
You know, this is something else Billy Graham wrote. He wrote, "Be like the Apostle Paul and say, quote, 'None of these things move me,' unquote. Few men suffered as Paul did, yet he learned how to abound and how to be abased. He learned to live above his circumstances, even in prison cell. You can do the same. Refuse to permit circumstances to get you down. In the midst of your difficulties, there will be deep joy. Quote, "For the joy of the Lord is your strength," says the Bible. Believe it or not, this is the path to peace. Paul said, "Troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed." That's 2 Corinthians 4:8. All these qualities are the characteristics of true Christians. They can be yours, giving you ultimate victory. They are part of your birthright. Claim them.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Billy Graham rocks.
Yeah, he does. He does. I tell you, one of the most difficult times for me to keep my mouth shut was when I felt like I needed to defend my son, who was being mistreated at school.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about the bullies. I'm not talking about, I mean, that's just kind of part of life. Hey, if you've graduated high school, congratulations.
Yeah.
But that's kind of part of the thing. I hate to say it, but
Yeah.
it is. But when you're mistreated by an adult,
Yeah, that's much different.
then you as a dad or you as a mom, the quills come out.
Sure.
Right? Beware of the mad mama or the mad papa.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember telling Cameron, it was my youngest boy. I can't remember the circumstance, but I know it was a teacher that was being very, very unkind to him. And it was like,
Right.
That's it. I've had it. I'm going down there. And Colin says, please do not do that. Do not do that.
Yeah.
So I didn't. And my son, in his young wisdom, was correct.
Yeah.
He dealt with it. He took care of it. It rolled off his back. There you go.
Now he's more resilient too.
But I'll tell you, and it's really hard because there is a time to speak up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That reminds me of one of my all-time favorite scenes in the movie Uncle Buck.
Uncle Buck.
Did you guys see it?
Great movie, yes.
First time,
Like
yeah.
Andy,
Last
right?
week,
So-
that's the last
so-
movie I saw with my grandma.
When
Yeah.
Uncle Buck went into the principal's office to discuss the issue with his niece,
Right.
do you remember that scene?
Kinda, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, anyway, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
that
go
was,
see,
that
get
was
the movie.
Uncle Buck
Yeah.
taking over probably what didn't need to be said to the principal in behalf of his niece, and that was.
So I went to, I got to show this guy. So Cameron, our oldest boy, he was in elementary school. It was like first grade, second grade, something like that. And he and another young man were talking amongst themselves, and during recess, and the teacher that was overseeing recess overheard them talking. And the one young man told Cameron, as this girl walked by, she's got big boobies. So the yard teacher heard that, called them, or took them both by the scruff of the neck into the principal's office, right? And we got called in.
Really?
Yeah, we come down to the we have a problem with your son, blah 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 blah. So we went down there. Now, let me back up a minute. A week prior to this incident, they had a book fair,
Okay.
right? And so they have all these new books they're putting in their library and so forth. And one of them was by an author who was part of what used to be called WWF.
Yeah.
The World Wrestling
Yeah.
Federation.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so with the book came these posters of the WWF, these really big posters. Now, kids in elementary school love nothing more than giant oversized things like big posters, right? So they're prime victims. So the book fair person brought these posters and was handing them out to all these kids. And the posters, front and center, with the women of the WWF with their hanging out like crazy.
Yep.
Totally inappropriate
Yep.
for children that age to even have or look at. So anyway, so back to my story. So Cameron had come home with one of those, and he he was like, I don't think we're supposed to have these, Dad. And I mean, he had that wisdom back in second grade. I mean, we got rid of the poster, and I'm like, that's another thing I wanted to go down there and read him the riot act, and I didn't do it.
Sure.
So this thing happens where his friend says this to him, and he didn't even say it. And the yard person brings me to the principal. We get called. I go down there, and the principal says, this is what happened. And this is what I said. I said, hey, Cameron. He goes, Dad, I didn't even say it. And the other kid goes, no, I said it. And I said, well, guys, next time, refer to them as breasts. And Marcia's like, what? I don't remember if she was terrified or not, probably. But anyway, I told him, I referred to him as breasts. We're going to talk about, use the correct verbiage here.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Come on. These little kids, all they're doing is repeating what you adults say.
That's exactly
And
it.
by the way, Mrs. Principal, I do recall last week you guys were handing out WWF posters to these little kids.
Wonder where he got it from.
Right?
How did she respond to that?
I don't remember. Tell you the truth,
He
I don't.
gave him a free poster.
I don't. Yeah,
I gave you a free here, Monty. You're right.
There's
There's
a
one
National
for you.
Geographic poster. But that was a time that I felt like the person I needed to make the comment to was my son and not the principal. Mm-hmm. But it was indirectly at the principal.
What exactly did so the teacher's complaint was what specifically?
That the kids were
they said boobies?
They were talking dirty.
That's what the complaint was?
Yeah, they were talking dirty. Yeah, they shouldn't have been talking like
So
that.
if you use the correct anatomical verbiage, it would be
Exactly.
okay.
Then it's not dirty anymore. That's right.
Well, and now we're living in a world where elementary kids can have their genitals removed.
Right.
Come on. I mean, it's madness. It's mad. So there is a time to speak up, obviously.
Yes.
Yes.
And there's a time not to. And I don't think we have a problem so much knowing when to speak up. We have a problem knowing when not to.
You know what I love to do in circumstances like that? I like to say, Miss Principal or Mr. Principal, can I ask you a question? And they'll say, sure. I say, how about I be you and you be me and answer why I'm sitting here? Because I'd like to hear what they have to say from being Monty, the parent.
Yeah,
I would like to hear their response to the circumstance and what would their message be to the child. And let them speak. I'd love to hear what they'd say.
Yeah. It's a great way to do it.
Yeah, that was really good. That's really good. Here's the last sound clip from the Reverend Billy Graham.
Again, be careful. Your mouth can cancel what God is creating. Your words can kill what God is watering. Sometimes the best thing you can say is nothing at all. You don't need to explain yourself to people who are determined to misunderstand you. You don't need to argue with those who are committed to being offended. You don't need to defend your character when God has already called you righteous. Stop talking to people who don't hear you, don't see you, and don't value what God placed inside you. Stop throwing your pearls before swine. Stop answering every critic. Stop correcting every fool. Silence is not surrender. Silence is strategy.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
What
Love
is
it.
that from, Monty? Can you send me that?
They're just clips that I found. I found him do. There's a whole sermon on this, and I'll see if I can find it.
I would
again.
like it too.
Oh, I'd love to have that sermon. Oh my
Man, I mean, stop arguing with your critics.
Yep.
you're not going to change their mind.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, you know, it's when you think of the political flavor of the day.
Yeah.
On both sides of the fence and everything in between, you know, if you're far left and liberal and you've got a platform to speak from, you're preaching to your choir. Nobody else is listening or cares or is going to change their mind. If you're on the right and you're ultra conservative, you're preaching to your choir. And you're not going to change the left's mind. If you're moderate, if you're in the middle, if you've got a little bit of both, you're probably frustrated and want both sides to shut up. you know, but preaching that too harshly, you're not going to change their minds.
That's right.
So at what point do you just stop and trust God and love each other? You know what I mean? One of the guys I really got to give a lot of credit to, and see, because I'm the name, the gentleman. I think he's a senator or something, and bald-headed guy wears shorts all the time. You guys know who I'm talking about? There's a listener out there that'll know. But anyway, he was far left for a long time, and he just got Betterman or whatever his name is. He just got tired of it all. Right?
The senator from Minnesota.
Yeah.
John Fetterman.
Fetterman, right? And
Yeah,
everybody was making fun of him. I'd watch
I love listening to him talk now. I'm like,
they were
wow.
throwing him under the bus. But he's like, whoa, wait a minute. And he disagrees with a lot of stuff from the conservatives.
Yeah.
But he's got enough of a brain to actually say, you know what? Why can't I have coffee with you? Why can't I go on a walk with you? Why can't I sit and enjoy a movie with you? Why not? What is this just bashing each other? Stop it.
Yeah, the division. Dividing over. The thing is, I have plenty of friends who may have voted for a different president, might have different views than me. I have people in recovery that are friends of mine that don't believe in God, and I believe in God. I will break bread with anybody willing to sit down and just be there for each other. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
It's one thing, and I'm just going to say it, and I'll get flack for it, but it's one of the qualities I love about our current president.
Huh?
He don't care about the name calling. He just had an entire day with the new mayor of New York, and they're friends now.
Yeah.
And he called him an infidel. And they go, "What do you think about that?" And he goes, "Bah." He
said, I've been called worse.
I've been called worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
What the heck? Let's have cake. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, that is so cool. And
didn't he turn around and yell at the reporter for it? He's like, "You are a horrible reporter. You are a horrible person. Let's have cake."
Yeah, right. It's just, and whatever you think about the Donald. It doesn't really matter. As far as this show goes, I'm just pointing out the fact that is a quality, to be able to sit down with somebody who has been bashing you for weeks and sit down, and that isn't an issue anymore at all, because you know what? Okay, so what? Let's talk about what really matters.
Yeah.
And we come together and compromise on some things and talk about what really matters. So you called me names. Whoop-de-doo. When I was in high school, there were guys that I thought were my bullies, or particularly junior high. Then I went to my high school reunion 50 years later, and they were like, "Monty, man, we remember so many good things about you and this." I thought, but you were my bully. Well, they really weren't. Some of them, there was a couple that were.
Sure.
But they were just really shy. Or they just didn't know how to act around other kids, and so they kind of put you off. And when you're in junior high school, you're ultra sensitive about everything anyway.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
You know what I mean? And so I totally misinterpreted that. Even the ones that called me names. It was just an immaturity thing. I mean, it's just so much stuff that we don't really need to be emotionally dependent on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if we'll learn that, we'll just be way better off. Learn to keep your mouth shut. When to keep your mouth shut. All right, we are at the end of our show this week. If you would like to comment, we would love to hear from you. If you'd like to stump us with a true or false story, we'd love to hear from you. Make sure you let me know whether it's true or false, though. I need to know that. And yeah, closing thoughts. Dion, you first.
Yeah, everything that I'd like to end with this. There were a few things, and it was one that was said in this sermon. It was about taking responsibility. So I've got to take responsibility for my actions. For sure, I take responsibility for my own emotions because they are mine. But the big one is taking responsibility for my triggers, the things I am allowing other people to use to utilize, that make me angry, right? Did they do that on purpose? I doubt it. They don't know what my triggers are. So I found that when I became responsible for those three things, my self-worth went up, and the name calling and everything else just starts to slide off of you. So
Right.
it happened.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Roger?
I go back to some of the things our parents told us, right? If you don't have something good to say nothing. It took me a long time to learn that. And one of the spiritual gifts that I've been blessed with is the gift of encouragement. So I used to hear there was an old guy who's passed now in our meetings. He used to say, "Do something good today and don't get caught." And I like to tell people that the steps take place outside the meeting when nobody's watching.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we learn experience, strength, and hope that we come back and report to the fellowship, which is the meetings.
Yeah.
And when I do that, I am so blessed and so grateful. I just want to pass that on. So I really work on, if I don't have something good to say, I try not to say it. And sometimes I fall short of that because my mouth precedes my wisdom and my spirit.
Yeah.
And so many times I have to close. A closed mouth gathers no foot.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
That is awesome. All right. Our closing song this week is by Ryder Knox, and it's entitled "My Soul is a Silent Song." Listen to the words of this, and then I'll come back with my closing thoughts. Here's Ryder.
I don't need a microphone to let you know I'm not alone. The world is loud, but I've grown still. I've learned to breathe inside your will. No verse or chorus I can write could touch the echoes in my night. But in the hush you meet me there, a melody wrapped in a prayer. No sound, but you still understand the trembling silence in my hands. My soul is a silent song, singing where I don't belong. It hums in pain, it hums in grace. In empty rooms it finds its place. No one tried to shout, I tried to scream, but lost myself in every dream. Until I learned you're not that far. You hear the whisper from the scar. No stage, no crowd, no grand applause. Just sacred stillness where I pause. You play the keys inside my chest and let me crumble into rest. And even when I've said no word, you catch the silence like a bird. My soul is a silent song, singing even when I'm wrong. It tells the truth I never say, and dances gently through the gray. It doesn't need the world to cheer. It only longs for you to hear. It's broken, but it still belongs. My soul is a silent song. So let the world keep shouting loud. I found you best beneath the cloud, where silence drips like morning dew, and every hush leads back to you. My soul is a silent song, soft but sacred, faint but strong. It prays and sighs, it cries in peace, and finds its freedom in release. Not every tune needs voice or chord. Some are only felt, not heard. And in that stillness I hold on. My soul is a silent song.
Sometimes choosing silence over proving a point protects our peace. Even when we know we're right, arguing can drain our energy, escalate emotions, and damage relationships. Staying quiet can show maturity, patience, and self-control, qualities that often speak louder than any perfectly crafted argument. It allows us to observe the situation more clearly and avoid getting pulled into unnecessary conflict. Keeping our mouth shut can also persevere. It can persevere through just about anything. It can preserve opportunities for better communication later. People are more likely to listen when they don't feel attacked or corrected in the moment. By staying silent, we give others space to reflect, and sometimes they come to the correct conclusion on their own. In the long run, the goal isn't to win every argument, but to maintain respect, harmony, and understanding in our connections with each other. It's something to think about. Until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Man along with Roger and Dion and the rest of the Take 12 Recovery Radio family, and we are wishing God's perfect serenity for you. Bye-bye.
Don't let the weights of the past keep you down. There's a melody here to turn it around. In each story and song you'll find a friend, a chorus of courage that'll never end.
This has been a broadcast of Take 12 Recovery Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
This has been a Chicken and a Pig production.